Wisconsin Wine Guy, and we are back again with another wine review coming to you live. Okay, not really live, but you know what I mean, right? So, for those who are new again, I am the Wisconsin Wine Guy, and I review wines I like to call everyday drinking wines. These are wines that are good for everyday drinking, and wines that you can find wherever you shop for wine, liquor store, grocery store, and some wine shops. I pick out a few wines, give them a taste, and give you my opinion, what I think about those wines, utilizing a very, very, very simple system. Thumbs up, thumb rating system, right? So thumbs up says I recommend that wine. That wine is pretty solid. You know, a good value and good for everyday drinking. 3/4, a wine that if I was on a budget, or a wine that if I was having some friends over, or if I saw it at a party, I would drink that wine. You know, I wouldn't shy away from it. Halfway, ooh, something about that wine didn't work for my palate. Doesn't make it a bad wine. Just didn't work for my palate, but I want you to taste it, and I want you to share with me and the rest of us your opinion about the wine. We don't have to agree. Thumbs down. Well, that's always an easy one, right? Get that wine out of here. It just didn't work out. So, every now and then there's the double thumbs up. Double thumbs up, again, is one of those wines of exceptional value. A wine that I would recommend you buy a few bottles, lay them down, and see what happens over a few years. If you can make it to 10 years on that last bottle or more, you're doing pretty good. Okay? So now, we are continuing our journey in familiarizing ourselves with the Wagner family of wines. I think I did the Imolo, which is the daughter's brand, Jenny. I did the Mirasoleil, which is the son's brand, Charles. Now we go to the father, you know, the originator, you know, one who set the standard, you know, for this family's winemaking. It's going to be Caymus, okay? Caymus, Caymus is a name that lots of people recognize. Caymus is known for its Napa Valley style Cabernet. You know, once upon a time it was called a cult wine. You know, I mean, it was the wine to get. Caymus. Everybody drank Caymus, 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 Caymus. Well, what Caymus wouldn't did was create a more approachable type of Cabernet. This will be all Cabernet, just like the Caymus, or Napa Caymus. This is going to be all Cabernet, sourced from different areas in the Napa area. So we're talking about Calistoga and Coombsville, you know, and from these different Cabernet lots that, in probably Paso, Robles, different areas, from these Cabernet lots, they go through and they created this wine. So our designation is going to be California, or California Cabernet. This is going to be 2022. So that's one way to distinguish the differences between these two Cabernets. Of course, the label on the traditional Caymus is going to be this color, whereas the Caymus California would be a darker label. It will also say California in big bold letters, as you see there. So this is coming in at, let's find the alcohol, coming in at 14.6% alcohol. This is aged in both American and French oak. No, this was, yeah, American and French oak for about 16, 18 months. Okay, so this is going to be very interesting to taste. I have been a Caymus fan from way back in the day, you know, the Caymus Napa, you know, and as of late, you know, in the wine drinking world, you hear both good and bad about the Caymus wines. I'm thinking that because they're using the name Caymus, but it's Caymus, California, people say, oh wow, Caymus is slipping, you know, the wines aren't the same, blah, blah, blah. I think most people are talking about this one and not the Caymus Napa. But I'm going to find out by tasting the Caymus California today. And then maybe another day I'll get my hands on the Caymus Napa and tell you. So you'll find this wine priced at, on sale, maybe $40. Regular price is going to be about $50, $55 you'll find it for. Okay? So we got that poured. Let's get into it. Now again, all Cabernet, and if you've followed me for quite some time, you notice I say it's always rare to find a wine that's all Cabernet. You know, it's usually Cabernet predominantly, but then something, something, something else. Sometimes just one something, but other times something, something, something else in small proportions. But this is going to be all Cabernet, and I enjoy tasting wine that's all Cabernet. So look at that color. In Caymus tradition, it's going to have depth of color. You know, like ruby deep purple here. Okay, it's going to have that color. Wow. That did alcohol already? Yep, 14.6%, and the vintage is going to be 2022. So we're 3 years old on this one, right? Now, on the nose. Wow, it definitely has that Cabernet nose. We're talking dark berries, dark berries on this one here. You know, like a blend of different dark berries. We just squeeze the juice into a glass and smell it. That's what you smell here. We have some spicy notes here. We have just a little bit of char. Ooh, there was something else there. Wait a minute. See, I love when a wine, when you're smelling it multiple times, and then there's something that's hidden that comes out on the second, third, or fourth smell. Wow, nice. Ooh, so you get subtle hints of vanilla, almost like a multi-berry pie. You know, 'cause you get this a little bit of spice in there. Wow. So nice on the nose. Smells like a Cabernet. It has the color of a deep, dense colored Cabernet, right? Serious, intense extraction, right? Now, taste. Me, no acidity, no plain. Okay, and sometimes you can find, you know, a nice abundance of acidity in red wines, but some of the bold, deeper red wines, you want the acidity to be well balanced with all the other components. So here we go. Okay, blended acidity, soft medium tannins, they're there. They're there, baby. Okay, you can't get away from them. It does have a dry finish. All right, now for the second taste. But the acidity is nice. That's what we're tasting for, acidity. Here we go. This is the kind of wine that'll stain your teeth. Mouth watering. Because when I rinse, if you notice, when I rinse, it's like this. Not deep. It's a rinse all over. I want every inch of my mouth to feel and taste this wine. Okay? Now, again, as I said earlier, if you're concerned about your teeth staining, this may not be the wine. Or a Petit Syrah may not be the wine. Or a full deep extracted Merlot may not be the wine. Syrah may not be the wine. Okay? You're getting extraction. You're getting, you know, those pigmentations and elements of that red grape here from the skin, right here. Now, let's dive into the taste. So on the taste, you get that cedar wood because it's like new and used. So you get that cedar wood taste. Definitely pick up on that. You do get a blend of the berries. It does have a subtle dryness. And then there's a when you talk about pencil lead, you know, you hear that term a lot. Pick up on some of that. Then you get like that subtle hint of plum on the finish here. Okay? Now, when it comes to overall rating, well, you can taste those tannins. Now, when I first opened this, I'm going to tell you, when I first opened this, it was noticeably that residual sugar sweetness to it. When I first opened it, I'm not going to lie to you. When I first opened it, I was like, oh my God, this is kind of sweet on that first initial opening. Okay? Now they had some time to mellow out, rest a little. Come into balance. Okay? And we do that full mouth rinse. The residual sugar is still there. And it's going to depend on individual palate. The residual sugar is still there, but it's not as intense as it was when I first opened this bottle. Okay? So that tells you what? Decant. That tells you what? Let the wine breathe. So right now, after a day of breathing, it's tasting pretty good. Look at them legs, baby. Woo, I don't know if you can see that, but I can see it. Look at them legs. It's tasting pretty good. Again, I repeat, that first opening and first initial taste, that residual sugar just slapped me right in the palate. Okay, but now everything is kind of like balanced out a little bit. It's actually tasting pretty good. So I'm going to definitely tell you, decant this wine. If you get a bottle and open it fresh, decant it. You know, give it some airtime. Wow, that's a different wine. Let's get to it, right? So, the Wisconsin wine, I'm going to give this a thumbs up. And I'll tell you why I just give it a thumbs up, even though it's tasting better now than the first time I had it, or when I freshly opened it. I give it a thumbs up because just that slight bit of residual sugar, okay? But if you let it breathe, you know, I can't give it like a double thumbs, even a thumb and 3/4. It's not up there with the Napa, but I gotta try the new Napa. But thumbs up is still pretty good. It's pretty good for everyday drinker. And even though I give it a thumbs up, I would even say get a bottle of this and lay it down and see what happens. Okay? Who knows? It may even taste better than the Napa over time, but I would say get a bottle of this and lay it down. I think Chuck did a good job with trying to introduce to the market a decent everyday drinking Cabernet. I mean, it's not all the time you want to spend like, you know, $85 to $100 or more on the Napa Caymus, but you still want to enjoy a Caymus wine. So I think it's a good spin, you know, at $50 if you can find it. It's a good spin at $50. I would buy it from the store as opposed to buying it in a restaurant unless you just buy it by the glass. I wouldn't buy the bottle. But I think it's a good choice. Thumbs up is pretty solid. It has some potential. I don't know what the fuss was about, but maybe most people had the same experience I had when you first opened it and you get that residual sugar taste. I don't know. But thumbs up is still pretty good. I may get another bottle and lay it down. It's your Wisconsin wine guy saying, as always, that your palate be the guide when choosing your wine. And I'll see you next time. Ciao!